check, 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate? Yes! Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need, get over the fear, and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Welcome to podcast episode 285. Welcome to a brand new month. Welcome to a brand new week. It's going to be a good week for everybody. We got in today. We had, 180 phone calls from the weekend we have to return. That's kind of cool. 180. It's nothing like walking into your office on a early Tuesday morning. People are just doing it. Feels good. We've got 5 questions sent in today by real estate investors like yourself. And remember, if you have a question, send it to support@michaelquarles.com. Also, remember about the Gold Coaching Program. You know, we had about 50 classes a month. We put all of our heads together last week. We had a big head meeting, and we decided we add some more. So you'll see the calendar fill up with more classes. We're trying to do some special things, getting people involved and doing some afternoon stuff, some very specific specialized training classes and what have you. We still have that CRM program. We still have the accountability coach, 60 or so videos and audios and a bunch of stuff to read, forms and contracts and all that kind of good stuff to keep you successful in real estate investing. I am still working on my phone system, my text platform, and my email platform, which I keep saying it's going to be here before long, and I'm going to stop saying that because it's going to be here. I just don't know how long before it'll be here. But we're working. It's going to have a good CRM to it as well. And so that's the important stuff. Make sure that it works well when we launch it, and it does what we need it to do for everybody that wants to utilize it. So if you're thinking about a coaching program, get into the program. Call us up. Talk to us about it. Ask us the questions. Why us instead of anybody else? And if we answer those, great for you. Fall forward. Here we go. Question number 1. Would it be a better idea to bring a property inspector rather than a contractor to potential properties initially to help determine the repair costs? I wouldn't. No, I just use my ugliest worksheet. What we did is we created this thing about 10 years ago, and we base cost upon what something looks like. So if it's ugly or uglier or the ugliest thing you've ever seen, then we have a cost associated to that. So if you look at a window or carpet or paint or light switches or plumbing or cabinets or what have you, whatever room you're in, do that. Now that's also one of the reasons I think it's extremely important to spend some time Home Depot, Lowe's. Go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's Saturday morning, get there at 6 o'clock. Nice thing about getting there at 6 o'clock in the morning is that's when all the tradesmen are going to be there at Home Depot. Homeowners, we kind of tend to get up a little bit later on a weekend, and we get into Home Depot, 10 o'clock. Well, 6 to 10 is 4 hours. So I want to get there early in the morning, meet the contractors, the painters, the plumbers, electricians, sheetrock hangers, all those kind of guys and gals, and, get business cards, pass out my business card, look for referrals, look for bird dogs, those kinds of things. I want to be able to do all that. And I know if I'm there at 6, I can do that. The other thing I want to go there for is I'm going to walk the aisles. I want to look at doors. I want to look at hinges. I want to look at locks. I want to look at windows. I want to look at, sheetrock. I want to look at paint costs, plumbing, toilets, ceiling fans, all those things, those pieces of a house, cabinets, everything, countertops, carpet, linoleum, tile, everything. And I know if we take it as an example, a flush door, which is basically a door that doesn't have any pattern to it, it's just flat. In interior, it's going to be a hollow, so it's an 1 3/8 hollow core flush door. And we take one, the normal size is 2.668, so 30 inches and 72 inch or 6.8, so whatever that is. And we take that thing, we know we can buy that slab, which is what they call it before it's bored and hinged. We can buy that thing for $24. And then we got a pair of 3.5 inch hinges, because on an interior 1 3/8, you only need two hinges. You don't need the 3, and they're they're 3.5s, not 4s. 4s go on the 1 3/4 doors in the exterior, and you put 3 of those. But we look at that stuff, and we know if the hinges are $3.99 a pair, And then if we looked at the locks, if it's just a passage lock, we don't, if it's a privacy lock, is it a passage lock? The difference between a closet door and a bathroom door. And locks are $18, $12, $11, whatever you want to say. You add those costs up to that door and multiply it by 3, and you pretty much have the cost of your door, what it costs to get something hung. Now, if you're only going to replace one of them, naturally it's going to cost you a little bit more than that. But if you go in there and replace, all 12 doors in a house, you can three times the material cost is a pretty good indication of what something's going to cost you. Yeah, it's a good rule of thumb. Doesn't work in all areas, but one of the things, that's the reason you can go there at 6 o'clock in the morning, get cards, talk to people, and all those kinds of good things, and find this stuff out. Yeah, I wouldn't go out there with a home inspector. Now, I am going to get a home inspection done, but that's after I get my BPO done, get my preliminary title report done, and confirm that the values are the values, and they have the right to sell it to me. So, great question. Sorry for the long answer. Question number 2. Is it possible to purchase a note or lien on a specific property? For example, could I purchase a note on a friend or family member's property? Well, if you know the person selling the note, if they have it for sale, yeah, you can. If it's an institutional note, probably not. It's going to be on the secondary market. So, but if it's just a private note, sure. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, got the money. You can go do anything you want as long as someone wants to sell something. You can't force someone to sell you something. And if it's an institutional note, then it's going to be on secondary markets. You're not going to be able to. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't find it and you can't do it, but probably not, kind of thing. Interesting question, though.
Thanks for listening. We'll be right back. Are you running out of leads? It's time you tried Yellow Letters at yellowletters.com. Get motivated seller leads through yellow letters, postcards, zip letters, typed professional letters, greeting cards, door hangers, and business cards. Yellow Letters is a full-service marketing company created with your success in mind. Get the personal attention you need to get your direct mail campaign started, and get in touch at yellowletters.com.
And we are back in 3, 2, 1.
Question number 3. When you lock a property up and sign a contract, do you set a price on the contract and send it out to your cash buyers list? Or do you lock it for a good price, for example, and then send it out to your cash buyers list without a price on it? Basically, just notify the cash buyers list. For example, send an email stating that I have this property under contract for a great price. Have the cash buyers available? Well, they do it a lot differently than I do it, guys and gals. Boy, that seems like a lot of work. Now, I'm not saying that if you have a really good cash buyers list that you shouldn't go out there and say, hey, I have the right to buy this thing over here, and I'm going to sell it for this value. If you want to buy it, buy it. But short of that, I'm putting everything on the MLS, multiple listing service. Man, 75% of the investors out there use an agent to find their deals. Only 25% of us don't use an agent, so why do I only want to market to the 25? I want to market to the 75. And I also know the 75% of the people out there that are using real estate agents to buy their properties are paying full price. That's who I want to sell my house to. That's why I'm buying it at an as-is value, a reduction of as-is value. And I'm going to sell it to that person at as-is value. I'm not going to try to sell it for less than value. And an agent only gets paid 6%. I get paid 35% to buy a house. If it only costs me 6% to sell a house, why do I ever want to sell one? Besides that, there's only me. So when I put a house on the multiple listing service, there's thousands of agents in my local marketplace that have the right to sell that house to their buyers. I want them to. I want to have competing offers. If I'm only marketing to 2 or 3 or 20 people on my buyers list, I'm not going to get competing offers. So now it's a lot of work for a little bit of money. And if I wanted to work for realtor fees, I'd just go be a realtor. I certainly wouldn't be an investor. Man, we got to make more money. We got to be more conscientious of the risk that we take and the value that we bring to the table when we put something under contract. Because that's all the work. When you put it under contract, that's the work. Let me teach you how to sell it for full value later. Question number 4, can an agent legally force me to relist with them? Is it even enforceable? I don't think anybody can legally force you to do anything unless you have already agreed to do it, kind of thing. So you've already signed something that you would extend it, and maybe they have an extension. I've never heard of an extension clause in a real estate listing agreement, but no, they can't force you. Now, keep in mind, the listing agreement isn't with the agent. The listing agreement is with the broker. So if you have any issues with your agent not performing, just go see the broker because that's who your agreement is with. The agent may have signed it on behalf of the broker, but it is the broker's property. Not property like physical property. Property as in the real property, the personal property, the listing agreement. So go chat with them. They don't want you to ruin their day. They don't want to ruin your day. Go sit down with them and put your heads together and try to work something else, but no one can force you to do anything. So we fortunately live in a society that they can't strong arm you to do anything you do not want to do. But again, if you've already agreed to do it legally, then I think they could probably legally force you, but that's a different story. I've never heard that in a listing agreement. And I happen to be a California broker, so yeah, haven't ever heard of it. Question number 5. What are your thoughts on mailing to those homeowners who have a negative % equity on their properties? Terrible. It's a terrible idea. It's a horrible idea. Hang on, let me use a better word. It doesn't make any sense. We're not in a market like we used to be where the majority of the properties that we could buy, they were all short sale candidates. So in those days, doing a negative property marketing made sense, but we're not in that market anymore. We have sufficiently enough equity-based properties that we don't have to go after non-equity-based properties and do shorts. That's the only reason you would market to negative equity properties. So what are my thoughts? Puke, yuck, I want to vomit. Don't do it. Don't waste your money. Learn how to do it right. Join our coaching program. This one's fun, guys and gals. Thank you so much for sending in the questions. And remember, if you have a question, support@michaelquarles.com. And one last thing. Well, not a last thing. A continuing thing. My wife and I were watching a movie last night. It's God Isn't Dead 2. We saw the first one a couple years ago, and this one was on, pay-per-view kind of thing. And so, paid $4.99 for it. Or whatever it was for the HD version, that a big old screen in our living room that we all sat around and watched. My mom was sitting there. Mom doesn't speak English really well, and she probably understands it less, but she sat with us, and my wife translated the movie for her on the important scenes, and I guess, the whole movie was an important scene. And it posed the question at the very end, or the statement at the very end, if God isn't dead for you to text out your friends and tell them. So I thought about that for quite a while, and because God's not dead in my life, and irrespective of your belief on it, my belief in Him tells me that I can text all my friends, but heck, I do a podcast. Thousands of people listen to me. I appreciate it, by the way. I can't think of a better way to tell my friends that God isn't dead. So if you have a platform and God isn't dead for you, let's stand up. Let's start telling people. As I think our society and our country just may need a revisiting. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.